Welcome back to the program, a great sponsor for years. It's Rugged Maniac. They are the perfect introduction race for newbies. Got a friend or kids ages 12 and up you want to introduce to OCR? Rugged Maniac checks all the boxes and is accessible to all athletic abilities. There's a new referral program. Once you sign up for Rugged Maniac, and by the way, they still have some of the lowest early bird prices, you will receive your own personal referral link. If you sign up 5 friends with your personal link, you'll be completely refunded your entry fee. A lot of races have a refer your friends discount, but this is the first one I know of that actually gives you your money back. Also this year, Rugged Maniac has upgraded to tech tees. We all love tech finisher tees. Rugged Maniac is going to give you one of those. There's also some new obstacles being announced. I'm hoping to be one of the first to bring those to you. I do Rugged Maniac almost every year. Super fun. Love it, love it, love it. It's one of those races that if you're experienced, you can race elite in the morning and then do a funsy lap in the afternoon. A very, very good time. Check out ruggedmaniac.com.
Yeah! Get up!
Welcome to the Obstacle Racing Media Podcast with Matt B. Davis.
With over 300 episodes since 2012, Matt has produced the most consistent podcast in OCR.
Each episode, Matt speaks with race directors, athletes, and industry insiders to bring you the most in-depth interviews and conversations in the world of obstacle racing,
adventure runs, and ultra marathons. If you have small children nearby, now is the time to put on some headphones
or send them off to watch Phineas and Ferb, as there are occasionally 4-letter words,
which are not bleeps. Now, here is your host.
Now here is your goddamn host.
Now here's your host, fucking Matt B. Davis.
Good day, everyone. Welcome back to the Obstacle Racing Media Podcast. I am your host, Matt B. Davis. It's a beautiful Monday. I'm enjoying the afternoon dunks. And I got an iTunes review I want to read you. This one says, Going Deep, Love It by J. Travs OCR. Loved the recent podcast with Anders Varner and how you explored stepping up your podcast game. I've been listening for a couple of years and I really have enjoyed your unique approach to covering the OCR scene. Keep bringing us the out-of-the-box shenanigans. Thank you so much, J. Travs OCR. And yes, because of that particular interview, I got more organized, and I know it sounds insane to this long to get it right in terms of number of episodes I put out consistently, or end of the day, I gave you an episode every week, right? And I was happy with that. However, bringing it to you every Tuesday morning and then the new one every Thursday, just doing that alone, just having it every Tuesday morning, working them on Mondays, being able to bring them to you on Tuesdays, just frees me up mentally in a lot of ways for all the reasons we talked about on that show. So yeah, better late than never. We're all you're never too young to learn. You're never too old to learn. Let's let that be the lesson. You're never too old to learn. Want to thank all the Patreon members that have been supporting along the way and invite you to join the Patreon as well. For those that hadn't heard, what I had done, what I thought would be a really fun thing to do for Patreon members is do giveaways. So we were going to do random drawings, and we did do random drawings, and I'm still going to do it this month. Don't tell Patreon. But apparently that's frowned upon. Something to do with gambling rules, which I know is insane, but they hold the cards and they could shut me down. And I think Patreon's been working, so I'm going with it. They emailed me and said, hey, are you going to change it up? You can't really do a raffle. And then I wrote them back, asked some questions, and they kind of kept writing me. I was kind of hoping it would go away, and it didn't. They're clearly on top of this. So I can no longer do the money gives you drawings in the hat things. There's a way longer way to go around it that just doesn't seem to make sense to keep it up. So I posted in the group, are you guys okay with this not being a benefit to donating or to contributing? And the answers were overwhelmingly yes. So I changed the awards up and we no longer have the drawings, but I'm still going to find a way to do cool stuff for you. And if you no longer want to donate, I'm not offended because I promised I was going to deliver on something and I no longer can deliver on that. So I changed the rules so that I can keep doing on Patreon, and we'll find some ways to still do really cool stuff and get you guys. Because again, I never want to be the hold back content guy, right? I want everybody to be able to receive this stuff. And it's a lot of work to get it to you. So if then I'm holding some back for certain people, it just doesn't seem right. So I want to give the content to everyone, but still want to do special stuff for you guys for being part of it. So let's think of how we can maybe do that together. I am going to do one for January because I already promised it before the change happened. Speaking of out-of-the-box shenanigans, on today's program, Charlie Engle. Charlie, I interviewed December of 2017 in the Reykjavik airport, and that started a pretty good friendship. Actually, sorry, we had met before that, man. We had met a couple years before. I'd seen his movie. He did a run across the United States. I met up with him in Georgia. And, we talked a lot about sobriety and program and kind of life stuff. And people really liked that. That was a favorite of you guys. And I think I brought him on. I think we did a phone call when the Spartan Trail thing got announced and all that crazy stuff. This was before then. This conversation is 2 airports long. We thought we would keep the tradition going. And on the way back from Tahoe, so this tells you September last year, we thought we would do this in 2 separate airports, and we did. So the first half you'll hear, and then we had to stop and get on another plane. And before we took off from that airport, we recorded again. So this will make sense when you hear it. And it also, I'll be honest, gets a little experimental towards the end. We just kind of went off the rails, I think. And some of you guys really love that. You say that's some of the best stuff, and some of you, not so much. So you can decide what you think of this episode. You can turn it off at any time. And by the end of it, I want to say that we were definitely in another land. I don't know what land that was, but we were there. So I'll let you listen to it and let you be the judge. This is Charlie and I, 2 airports. I want to call this airport something, this episode something, 2 airports and a baby, something. But remember what we learned from Anders, right? Do the clickbaity title. So maybe I'll call it I Solved the World's Problems with Charlie Engle at 2 airports. I don't know. Let's listen. You'll know by the time you hear this. Away we go.
We know where we are.
She's going to tell everybody where we are. Yeah, we're in the Reno airport. That's in Reno, Nevada.
As opposed to
Reno, California.
Well, here's what's great.
Here's what's
great. We've done an episode in Iceland, right? And in the Reykjavik airport, and today we're going to do one and possibly 2 different airports. So maybe
not possibly.
It becomes the thing that you and I do.
And then we're doing Salt Lake City.
Right, and it just becomes like the airport series.
Yeah.
So you're doing a big talk in L.A.
Yeah, and on October 17th, I'm speaking at this big function called Worlds with a Z on the end of it, and it
must be good. If they spelled it with a Z.
It is. Actually, it's really fantastic. It's 3,500 people.
Whoa.
And it is pretty much every major company in this country and all entertainment and marketing, and it's mastermind classes and people like I'm speaking there with folks like the Dalai Lama and Tony Hawk, and it's very funny. I'm actually the featured keynote this year though, which is fun.
Above Dalai Lama and Tony Hawk?
So I am doing, well, here's the thing though, because my gig is a little different. So this year what I'm doing is actually in a sense a dramatic recreation of my very strange life. So I have 10 minutes, right? So this is kind of TED Talk area. So I have 10 minutes. I will literally start on the stage on a treadmill, a silent treadmill, but I'll be over in the left-hand corner of the stage. And the stage, the screen behind the stage is the size of, half a football field. I mean, it's massive, and scenes of the Sahara Desert will be coming up on the screen, sunrise, sunset, and I literally will be over on the left-hand side just running for the first 30 seconds with no talking or anything. And then I basically start with, people told me that it was impossible. And I go into this thing, and in essence, the short version is, I spend about 3 minutes. I talk briefly about the Sahara and how it all kind of started with my recovery from addiction. And then I'll walk over to another portion of the stage where there's a rectangular, light, and that'll basically be my prison cell.
Right.
And I'll put on my orange jumpsuit, and I do 3 minutes there.
Wow.
And then I move on, and I start talking about Dead Sea to Everest in the last act.
Right.
And the whole thing will end up with snow falling on me from some unseen place above the stage.
I'm sold.
Yeah, it'll be filmed. I'll share it with you sometime.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's.
Have you done a TED? I would think you would have done one by now.
I've done TEDx. I've done. It's interesting. We're getting close. I mean, TED has morphed into so many different things from its beginning, and it really is a it's a thing that I absolutely want to do. On the big stage if I ever get the chance, and hopefully I will. I mean, it's
Have you been on Oprah?
I haven't been on Oprah.
Man, these are things that I feel like should be. That's kind of the. Like those are the boxes you got to tick. I think.
I'd even like to be on Ellen. I mean,
actually, Ellen can.
She kicks ass. She's funny.
Well, yeah, and it's a needle mover.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, I saw you on Ellen.
Yeah, it's back in the day. Of course, I was on Leno and some of those things, and they
So Charlie, tell me when you ran across the desert.
Look at that guy, me. I ended up in prison.
Was that a pretty good Jay Leno impression?
Huh?
Was that a pretty good Jay Leno impression?
It was a very good Jay Leno impression.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I need a lot of validation. I don't know if you've learned that about me.
That was good.
I need constant validation.
It was good. Just even attempting that is good.
All right. Well, I'm gonna. I think that's. I wrote that on one of my. What do you call them? Like The Secret, so
sure.
I call them like Secret List.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I wrote one of us gets on Oprah about me and my wife.
Yeah.
I think I should change it and be more specific and put either my name or her name or both. But I just wrote one of us gets on Oprah, which I think is kind of a weird thing to write. But
yeah, I don't know who it would be. I was going to say it seems like the obvious would be you, but I actually know that in my marriage, I'm the more overtly obvious one, but my wife is actually far more likely to end up on Oprah.
Well, my wife is...
She's actually gifted.
My wife is hilarious.
Yeah.
She dabbles in writing, and whenever she does, people die laughing. It's so honest. It's so raw. She has a way with words that I don't, that kind of makes me mad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people are just kind of naturally just poetic or describe a scene. I'm bad at that. I'm just I'm your guy if you want a guy that's just going to blah, right?
Yeah.
But she can weave a sentence or two together.
She can pace it and not reveal everything all at once.
But also just honestly, just if she describes she's written describing about watching her mom die and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But also write about cleaning up shit for my kids.
Yeah.
And both of those things make people laugh or cry or both. And I feel like that's not my not my thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what my thing is, but it's not that.
No, man. You got a lot of things going on, so there's no doubt about that. So, yeah.
So I did want to ask you, I don't do a lot of what shoes do you wear, how do you lift a kettlebell type of thing, but we started talking a little bit about supplements, and as I'm getting older, I look at someone like yourself, and I'm like, okay, because sometimes I get the negative things well, I'm almost 50 and blah, blah, and it's okay, well, here's a guy who's clearly kicking ass and taking it. He looks fit, right?
So I appreciate that.
You ran, what did you run today? You banged out a 12-miler, you said?
I mean, sure. That was,
right?
Easy.
Right. But I'm saying, I need to hear that because I get stuck in my own whatever.
Well, and I mean,
So I want to hear about the things you're taking. That's what I'm getting at.
And I mean, I would also say that, I was vegan long before it was trendy.
Right.
So, now
you were an ultra runner long before it was trendy.
That too, yeah. And, now it's people they roll their eyes when you say you're vegan as if you've just said you joined a commune or something like that.
You did say you were also gluten-free, though. I did eye roll at that. I
am. And, here's what people don't understand, and it fits into the supplement question. What people don't understand about gluten is it causes a natural inflammatory response not only in your gut, but in your joints. So as a runner, when I finally became convinced by my wife that we should try eating gluten-free pastas because I love pasta, and frankly, it was no different. I mean, or it was actually better because there's pastas that are made with with brown rice pasta, vegetable pastas. I mean, things that are really tasty. They're a little harder to cook, so we cook all the time. So you just have to. If you let gluten-free pasta sit in the in the water 30 seconds too long, got a big pot of mush. You got to get it out of there. But why wouldn't you?
What do you season or sauce with?
Yeah, so I mean everything in my house starts with onions and garlic and peppers. So I mean there's no nothing that the base of everything is going to be nicely sautéed vegetables, mushrooms. Whether it's a pasta we're making or whether it's pasta to a lot of people means tomato sauce, and I saw a kinesiologist years ago who told me that I have this thing that a lot of people have, like an allergy to nightshades, which actually I just like the cool sound of that. I'm like, really? Wow. And what that means, it's kind of a tomato thing. So I love tomatoes and I still eat them, but I don't eat them all the time. So we'll do okay, you can do a great pesto. You do that little saute. It's like a cooking show now, and you toss in a big glob of organic pesto and mix that into the pasta and a little bit of vegan cheese, and it's fantastic.
What's vegan cheese?
It's just it's usually a soy product of some type, but I mean there's all kinds of great cheeses now that are people. Hey, look, the food companies obviously they make products because people buy them, and and there's so many people who are now vegan. Look, I'll tell you this, and this is dairy is a great example. So I quit dairy a long time ago, and I grew up in North Carolina. I played football in high school, and I was drinking, a gallon of whole milk a day because that's what you were told to do.
Right.
And, eating a dozen eggs, and it's friggin' Rocky time. So
right.
I'm putting them in a glass and drinking them.
Right.
And doing all of that. Well, I quit milk about 10 years ago. I just decided, hey, let's take a little break from dairy, and because I read an article or I listened to I wasn't listening to a podcast, but
right.
somebody said you should. So I decided to try it, and I took 3 months off, of drinking milk or having milk with my cereal or my coffee or anything else. And I'll never forget, I went on a trip, and I love cereal. And so I went to a Hampton Inn or somewhere where I stayed. And that morning I got up, and I wanted cereal. And so I said, how bad could using a little bit of skim milk, regular milk on my cereal be? And
right.
so I used the skim milk on there, and I basically farted my way through the next 2 days, and it just destroyed my stomach, and everybody around me, paid the price. And I recognized then, we're not meant to drink milk.
I've heard this before.
Cows drink milk. Cows drink cow's milk.
I've heard this before.
Yeah, it's an allergy. We all, I don't care who you are, you have a natural allergy to milk.
So what do you put in your coffee?
Yeah, so I use almond milk, or I use oat milk. It's fantastic.
You know what's really good? Pretty much any cereal with almond milk is the most delicious thing.
It's fantastic,
now.
right?
That's my wife got me on that.
Yeah, and you can either the plain, or if you like something a little sweeter, you can get the vanilla or
right. something
something like that. And look, man, it's so much better for you. You get protein out of it. You don't get any of the, you don't get the drugs. I mean, it's not like when you're drinking milk. You just get the milk. You're getting that whole cow in that milk, And those cows are eating, for the most part, they're eating grains that are filled with pesticides and all kinds. So forget even about the allergy part. I mean, we eat in my house, in our house, we eat pretty much about 95% organic. And people always say that it costs more or whatever. If you're a lousy shopper, we go to the store and we buy the organic things that are on sale that day or whatever. And if you shop on Amazon, we get all our dry goods, things like cereals and pastas and all that stuff. We just order in bulk on Amazon, all organic, all super cheap, way less than you'd pay at the grocery store. So shut up, people out there that say that it's expensive. It's only expensive if you don't take the time to shop a little bit. You asked me about supplements, didn't you?
I know, but this is what happens when you and I talk. We just start chit-chatting. I'm just curious. So my wife started taking in the morning black seed oil, not flaxseed oil, black seed oil. Possibly the most disgusting tasting thing in the world. But it
doesn't come in a capsule. It's like a liquid.
It's a liquid that you must drink. And it's so heinous.
Sounds awful.
But she says she swears by it.
Yeah.
That it makes her whatever, healthier, smarter. She swears by it. So I started taking a little bit in the morning.
Yeah. You know what? And look, most of the things that we are encouraged to take aren't going to kill us. And some of them actually do us good, and some the power of even the placebo effect is absolutely massive. It's just like starting a new exercise program or whatever, whatever you're willing to actually do and do it consistently, and it causes you to be accountable for what you're eating, how you're exercising, how you're kind of going about your business. It helps. So if I'm taking vitamins, I mean, I'm pretty convinced that they help me. There's a couple that I take that I actually, I could tell you a short story that I know for sure help me. and everything I take is much more around anti-inflammatory type substances. So, like for example, I take quercetin, I take boswellia.
I've heard of neither of those.
Yeah, and they're plants. That's the thing. They're all plants. So this is Native American or ancient Chinese medicine, and I'll give you a great turmeric is another very popular one, and
she takes that, I think.
Yeah, and I mean here's the thing. So I take a concoction of those things that I just mentioned, and I have some empirical proof, at least for myself. So I've had knee surgery, just arthroscopic, meniscal surgery on both of my knees, just actually from basketball, not from running. And so I have a little arthritis in my right knee, and it will swell. And when I met my wife 5 years ago, I was running actually really well, running fast, racing well, all of that. But my right knee was about twice the size of my left knee. And I just had accepted the fact that that's just the way it was. It hurt. I had to elevate and use ice and do those kind of things after a run. And that's just the way it was. And so she said, how about trying these things? And I tried them, and a week went by, nothing. And about 10 days happened, and I noticed the swelling started going down. And a month later, a month into taking it, my right knee was the exact same size as my left knee. And, I didn't necessarily know what to make of it. I gave her a lot of credit, but I went to Puerto Rico to actually run with a couple of other people all the way across the island of Puerto Rico. So it was, a couple 100 miles, and I was in the midst of writing my book.
Which one is that?
So Running Man. And so we stayed.
I don't believe I've purchased a copy of that. I should probably do that. Is it available on Amazon?
Yeah.
Do you have one in there you can just give me?
I don't, but I'd be happy to send you one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to make you go to the post office.
So it's on, it's sold a gazillion copies on Audible also, which I can't give you because I don't have a way to do that.
Well, why don't I do that?
But
do you read it?
I do.
Read by the author?
I had to audition to read my own book.
Are you being serious?
I am.
They wanted to make sure you didn't stutter?
Yeah, just because you can write doesn't mean you can talk. So yeah, I read my own book, and
right.
and I will say I'm proud of the fact that I get a lot of great comments.
All right, let's back up a little bit.
Stars.
Has there been...
But wait, I have to finish the one story. So I'm running across Puerto Rico, I'm writing my book and all that, and we decide to stay 2 extra weeks. And I run out of this concoction that I've been taking of turmeric and boswellia.
And it's not available in Puerto Rico?
Can't get it there. So 2 weeks goes by, and within about 5 days, my right knee
started going back.
Boom, right back to where it was before. Then we get home, I start taking it again. 10 days later, it's back to normal. So it's the only... People send me shit all the time. I get more proteins and vitamins, and everybody wants, me and other athletes and people with some I'm sure you also,
right? But
following.
But earlier you said you're tired of asking for free stuff, and I said I am not.
Right? Yeah, I don't mind that because they're expensive, those things. So, but anyway, so
do you currently have a protein sponsor? Because man, that shit's expensive.
It does get expensive. So,
you know what's really good is the Spartan one, the Ascent. I like that.
Is it whey protein though? Because that's dairy. Whey is dairy. So
we want the kind that's not whey.
I do. Right. I would do a vegan version of that if there is one.
Well, yeah, we'd have to shop in the dirty hippie section.
Yeah, vegan people forget that vegan. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, I was just asking you about. No. People want to send me stuff too, but sometimes I do because I honestly think it'd be funny if it's not if it's a crappy product. I just kind of like to see their packaging and stuff.
Well, here's the thing, right? If you look at the label, again, you're looking at sugars. You're looking at. If something tastes I'll give you an example, and this is. I don't want to get in trouble for with Cliff Bar, but
is that your current sponsor?
I love Cliff. No, they're not a sponsor of mine, but I've always loved Cliff Bars, and they taste great. They have a little too much sugar in them, so I don't eat. I eat a bar or two probably every day of my life.
Really?
I don't eat. Yeah, because I don't eat.
They're heavy though.
All this, not to me anyway. 200 calories, most of them.
I feel like Cliff Bars are too heavy for me. Maybe I'm eating the wrong kind.
I love them, but they're a little heavy on sugar. So consequently, I don't. My wife forbids me from eating too many of them because they're kind of like dessert.
Who are your current sponsors?
So Hoka's been a sponsor of mine
forever,
for a long time. Yeah.
Have you worn the Evo Jaws?
That's what I wore the last 3 days there when I was up doing a photo shoot on the mountain. I didn't race this weekend, but
what do you think about this Smurf feet problem?
It's you want to see my feet right now? They're blue.
I'm just so surprised.
It's crazy. How can you not solve that problem?
It's amazing,
You know what I mean?
and I love that shoe. It is my current favorite shoe.
How can you not solve that
And
problem,
I honestly,
Hoka?
it's so funny. Now, do you say Oni Oni or do you say 1-1?
No, it's just 1-1, and they don't even do it anymore. It's pretty much just Hoka these days.
The girl told me. I talked to the girl. I talked to a woman, and she said they're back to One One.
What?
Yep.
Oh my God! Well,
So anyway, let's back up.
Hoka.
Let's back up a little bit. I'm saying Hoka as well.
Yeah.
So
One
I got when I first wore them.
Pasta.
When I first wore them, and they made these Mudgear socks. A little shout out to Mudgear, who I love. Love these socks. Sorry, Spartan, and you're darn tough. You're not going to get me away from Mudgear.
I'm wearing skivvies, so I'm going to give them a shout out.
All right.
So they're called skivvies.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool
socks,
name.
so.
Interestingly enough, have you noticed what has happened in the last 3 years that like men's underwear has become this like super crowded field of like, no, we're the best underwear.
Dude, I love really great underwear.
Okay, who are you?
That's something people can send me.
Okay.
So there's a company called Path, which is a sponsor of mine. PATH, Path. They make running gear, but what they've, like a few other companies, they've gone into this market of making separate pieces. So you've got an underlayer, basically underwear, and then you've got a running short on top of that, as opposed to it being the liner that's in it. You got two separate pieces, and these underwear are the freaking best underwear I've ever had. Ex Officio used to be a sponsor of mine, and I loved those too.
Right.
Antimicrobial. I want a pair of underwear I can wear for 3 days.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And and come on, we all know that we pick up a pair of underwear, we sniff them.
I don't, because I know how horrible
if you've
it
had
is.
it on for a couple of days and you're trying to
Couple of days. I'm a one-day guy.
No, man. If you're trying to decide, look, your listeners out there, and you know who you are out there. If you're thinking about wearing those for a second or third day,
there is no with me. It's listen. You know how many times I pack? You know how many underwears I packed for this trip? So when I land,
That's not plural.
When I land,
pairs of underwear.
When I land, okay. When I land and I go to my hotel room, the first thing I might do is change your underwear because I've been wearing them.
Because you shit your pants, or just
because I've been wearing them for 7 hours on a sweaty plane.
Yeah, that's true.
I never want to wear more than one day. I can't. I'm sorry, I just can't.
You don't turn them inside out even or something. But.
I wear regular boxers. That's anyway.
Oh yeah.
Boxers are so easy.
Boxers
are so easy to they're so easy to travel with.
Yeah.
That I can just.
I'm gonna get.
If it's a 3-day trip,
you like free stuff. I'm gonna get some people to send you some underwear, and then you can tell me.
Please do.
Yeah,
because I just wear regular boxers, and then I wear for running. I started wearing these called underwear for men.
Yeah.
They sent me a few pairs, and I wear those under my running shorts.
Yeah.
Because they keep everything together.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I wear.
That's really
or mud gear. I've worn a couple pairs of mud gear for those too.
Yeah. So ultras are a big deal for having good underwear or good liners in your shorts, because it doesn't take a genius to figure out if you're going to run 100 miles and your junk is bouncing
massive
around.
chafing.
So there's chafing, and there's just like literally you get
jostled
sore.
around.
Yeah, and so I want things to stay put, and it's actually it is a very crowded territory these days. There's just companies coming out all over the place.
Right.
And
what is your like what do you call it? Solution.
Like a chafing,
yeah,
anti-chafing?
Yeah.
I don't have a single one anymore. I actually, after I ran across the Sahara, I actually created one for my run across the Sahara.
Which
was called Mission. It was Mission Skincare, and like this stuff was fantastic, but that part of our company
fell apart.
We dropped it. It's just too competitive.
But if you and I were going to run a 50-miler today,
yeah,
and I said, let's go.
What
would you lube up with? That's the question.
Shit, I don't know the name of the one I'm using right now. It's a roll-on, though, and I like the roll-on, too, instead of having to, like, squeeze out a bunch of crap on my hand.
Right.
And then, especially if you're an obstacle course racer, there's a great idea. Let's put something really slippery on your hands before you go race.
Right.
So I use this roll-on, and it is made by, I don't even know, man. I'm embarrassed. But chafing is... chafing is the enemy for every sport, but ultra running in particular. It's all you can think about once it starts. We've all had that experience. Like once monkey butt. Because it's not just for the it's not just for the package. It's for it's for the crack too.
No, absolutely.
You run 100 miles, and
dude.
your butt
If I
cheeks are
go,
running together,
dude,
you
if
can
I go
start
on
a fire.
if I go on a few hour runs and it's raining, my nipples are on fire because I don't remember to do that thing.
Yep. You have to.
I bet back in your day you did the old Band-Aid trick, right? Back in the 50s when you started running?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had Band-Aids all the time. And
right.
the other, also back in the day, actually reminds me of one of my favorite stories ever. Back in the day, we always used just Vaseline, right? So you had a little tub of Vaseline.
Right.
And, you're using that. I had a woman who was on my adventure racing team, Laura. I won't say her last name, but Laura she was a trip. She was funny. And so me and the two other guys on my Eco Challenge teams, 4 people on a team, right? We're handing around the little jar of Vaseline.
Right.
Right. And I mean, it's okay because it's all going
right
to the same places, butt cracks and packages. And Laura walks up and she's like, "Oh my God, thank you." And she scoops a finger in there and just puts it on her lips. And we all stood there like there was that second of like,
and then you just couldn't.
Like, never mind. Like there was no stopping it, and then it just became very funny.
So let's back up. So besides Hoka, what are your current sponsors?
Man, I don't have very many. So I'll tell you a funny thing about that, and I sound pitiful when I say it, but it's very hard for any athletes, unless you truly are at the very top of your field, to get money.
Right. They'll send you free stuff any day.
So I have 20 sponsors that will send me stuff.
Right.
And a few of them that will, I'll give you an example. So Volcom is a good, Volcom, which is a non-athletic company. They're a skate.
I feel like I saw them a lot this weekend.
Yeah, it's a cool brand in California.
That's why, because it's like a skiing thing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it's skiing, it's skating, it's surfing, it's all of that. And we should get on in a couple minutes. But
do they start the boarding?
No, I don't think so. Those are all just people getting off the previous plane. But they so like Volcom has this really great, like Kelly Slater is one of their people, and they got a lot of hot people.
You have to make sure.
Kelly Slater's a surfer for those people that don't know.
Well, no, but just if they're like 30 and under, they might think it's a character from a television show called. There was a high school show.
Japanese. What do they call that? Oh my God!
Says
the cartoon characters.
We don't park for another. We're good.
Okay.
For a couple more minutes. He was on the show. That I can't think of, which my listeners will send me a message on Instagram when they hear this. But anyway, Kelly Slater, the famous surfer, not the television character.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Right. Exactly. So, but Volcom is a great...
And they're a sponsor of yours?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I became friends with the president years ago. And, oh, yeah. Well, actually, you just looked at that. So there's one. Raid Light is... and I actually really am enjoying Raid Light pack. So I have a pack that actually I think would even be good for OCR racers, but the bottles are in the front. So they're soft bottles, and they're in the front. And what I like about it is they're very easy to get to. So you can drink. You know how much you have left. Because
you
can squeeze your breast, right? And so you're not trying to guess how much water is still in your pack,
right?
So you got that, and they're easy. It's easy to pull out, refill quickly, and keep moving. The pack itself actually has, I always forget the name of it, but it's got the little, you can cinch it down. So it's the only one I've ever had where there truly is no bounce, 0 bounce in the pack.
What's the name of it called?
Raid Light.
Okay.
Yep. Raid Light. And they've been in Europe and
I've never heard of them.
French market and the German market and all of those for years. And they, as far as innovation goes, unfortunately, a lot of those companies in Europe and in Asia are far ahead of some of the other companies when it comes to just always being kind of on the cutting edge of materials, things that are. I mean, look at the course that was just here in Tahoe. I mean, you got wet 2 or 3 times, and if you got it sounds silly, but if you got a material that's keeping all that water and not drying quickly, you're carrying around an extra pound, which, it matters.
Of course.
It matters.
Covering 15 miles or 30 miles, it matters. Of course it does.
So let's see who else.
All this talking about running is making me exhausted, by the way. I'm ready for a nap.
The sock company, Skivvies, is fairly new. I'm talking to a handful of others right now that I hope are going to come on board my next big project.
So you
I don't
mentioned
have
like
deals
having
with
like an agent. Is that something you've usually had? Or
I've always had a speaking agent,
right? But I mean, but a product whatever agent.
Yeah. So this is there's a company up in north of Boston that they haven't given me permission to say, so I probably won't say right now. But they're a super high-end ad agency that I would never in a million years be able to afford myself.
Right.
But they like what I'm doing. I'm launching this new platform basically called Surviving Anything. You and I were talking about it earlier, and it's going to be a blog and a podcast and a lot of other things, I hope. And it is kind of the trend these days, right? To
People are really hungry for content.
Yeah.
So video and podcast is an awesome way to go.
Well, look, and I'm totally transparent about this. When I ran across the Sahara Desert, that's been like 10 years ago now, I had no plan. I ran across the desert.
You just said, let's just bring a film crew and see what happens?
Right. No, there was that. But once I got across and once it was over, yes, there was the movie. And
but you didn't think how can I make this brand do something else?
I signed on with William Morris, actually, and they were my agent. And then I sat around and waited for the phone to ring. And
you can't do that.
And it did for a lot of speaking.
Right.
It didn't for much else. And the world has changed a lot. Now with social media and people are out there building brands every single day without ever talking to some, they use social media, but you don't, even having an agent is not necessary.
Right.
I need, what I like though is that they have some great ideas and they do have great connections with brands. I mean, here's one thing that I've always struggled with. We started this conversation I have this big talk coming up in a few weeks, right? So I'm gonna go have this talk, and I know after this talk is over, I'm gonna have 10 brands that are going to be interested, and some of them are big brands, right? They're going to be interested, but then it's just me. Right. Charlie Engle is getting on the phone with these guys and sending emails, and it's not just that it's not professional, so to speak. I don't have the expertise in negotiating those kind of things, right?
You want to send your bad guy to ask for more money.
Exactly.
That's always and then that way you can just be the talent they love,
right?
Rather than the guy that then hassles them about the money and the thing.
And
trust
me,
I get it.
Pitch me and what am I going to do? Put something together and to say how awesome I am? It's uncomfortable, and I've been doing it for years because this is not the way I'm built. Okay, we got a board. You want to continue this in Salt Lake City in a couple of hours? What do you think?
Yeah, let's do that.
Get one more airport.
Yeah, I think that's great. I feel like we're just starting to pick up speed, so you can't close down on me. I feel like
that. I won't close down on you.
I know, I'm just joking.
I'll be open again.
I was
we'll
joking.
Start right where we left.
No, I know we will. No, but that's happened. So little tip, by the way, if you're going to get into the podcast game or interview game, I'm telling you, if you. I always start with the full battery because God forbid hey, let's change the battery. They start looking at their phone, their head goes somewhere else. You want to keep them fucking locked in. Yeah,
absolutely.
Just giving you a little.
I appreciate that.
Little free podcast.
And speaking of, so you asked about supplements. So in a little while, we're going to do a supplemental podcast. Thank you.
All right,
I'm
dude.
here all week.
Describe everybody where we are.
Once again, we're in an airport. This time we're in Salt Lake City in the Delta terminal, which apparently, I forgot that it's a hub for Delta.
Oh, that's why.
Salt Lake City. So there are a lot of people here.
And it's a Sunday night. Everyone's traveling.
Mm-hmm. Not just Mormons, like everybody, it seems, as far as I can tell.
Correct.
It's not that many blondes.
And we have an endurance record we want to set.
Yeah.
Tell everybody what it is. What our new endurance record?
We're going to do 50. We've been talking about records, really just amazing fitness and endurance records. So we're going to do 50 podcasts in 50 airports in 50 days. Yeah.
I think it's a really good idea. I think it's a really good idea. And I think what we would do is
50 different topics, or do we just talk about?
Well, I think we get a different guest, right? Mm. So they meet us in the airport, right? I guess we're gonna have to. We won't be able to do it inside the gate though, because like you need to get past security. So it's gonna have to be like in the. It's gonna have to be like in the food section. But like we trade off like who we interview. Sometimes we both interview the person. Sometimes just one of us does. We gotta flesh it out. But here's.
If we had a huge sponsor, we just buy tickets and just then for the people, the guests, and then they just don't go anywhere. They just leave.
What do you mean?
We just buy them a cheap ticket to anywhere. The cheapest ticket they can get somewhere. They come into the terminal and meet us.
Well, I feel like it's like where they live, like in their town.
Well, that's what I'm
so we
saying,
get a
though.
Georgia
They come into
person,
the terminal.
we get a Tennessee person, we get a right.
They come into the Delta terminal like in Atlanta,
right?
And they meet us and they sit on top. But we've bought them a $120 one-way ticket to somewhere that they don't use, but it gets them through security. And so they come in and sit on top.
So that way we don't have to go back out at security all the time.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is really more about us than it's about them.
Okay.
Our convenience.
I just wanted to make it as easy for them as possible, but I see where we're going here. But here's the thing. So we started this podcast. We started talking a little bit offline about records and people who've cheated and whatever. And
could you cheat on the 50 podcast?
Well,
would there be a way?
We'll get to that.
You could sit in another airport, I guess. Although we can take pictures every time. So
there's lots we can do to make sure it's happening. We can live stream the whole freaking thing.
Is there Strava for this, you think?
We can
Like,
live
could you
stream
do
the whole
this?
thing. We can live stream. That's easy peasy to live stream. But here's a thought I had. Okay. I'm going to bring up somebody that I'm sure you know personally.
Yeah.
But one time I decided, this one weekend, I did 3 races in a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I challenged my audience to top that. I said, hey, guys, I did 3 races this weekend. And this guy, Jeff, he sends me a picture, and I don't even know what it is first. It's just him with, like, a bib on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, a few hours later, he sends me another one, and he's holding up 2 fingers, and I still don't get it. And it wasn't until the 3rd one. He ended up doing 5 races in a day. Okay, he did 5...
running races.
Right. Well, one was an obstacle, one was a thing. No, because I had done 3 in one day. I had raced a 5K, I did an obstacle race, then I did a night run.
Okay.
So he did 5. And I said, okay.
It could be any kind of race. Just 3 things.
So I thought, I'm going to beat that. And so I pull out this map, this just like I don't know what you have where you live, but you just pull up Run Georgia, and there's so many 5 and 10Ks.
Yeah.
And I found this one weekend where there was a couple of obstacle races, and I ended up with 8. Okay?
Wow.
In a weekend. There was
a 2-day weekend. So
there was a race that started on Friday. I ended up getting a 2 on Friday night.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I got 8 in a weekend, and I said, nobody can beat this.
Yeah.
And I felt really cool about it.
Yeah.
Right?
I would too.
And I realized, like, I had created a category for myself.
Yeah.
So what I was talking about is, like, people give Carnazes a hard time.
Yeah.
Because he's not the fastest.
Right. You made a record. Like, it could have been on a pogo stick with one arm tied
Whatever.
behind your back.
Right. Now, interestingly enough, I did reach out to Guinness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. The beer company?
The world record people.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry.
And I said, I did this. Can I have a record for this? And they said no, because it's not specific enough.
Right.
But if you want, do you want to be the fastest marathon in a fucking banana costume?
Huh?
We'll give you, there's lots of those.
There's
a lot of those. There's Elvis, there's Superhero,
Yeah.
but it's because 26.2 is measurable.
Yeah. I think Michael Wardian has all of those.
Well, Wardian has some.
I know he has Elvis.
Ian Sharman had some.
Right. Yeah.
But we can't, because they're all different distances, how can we specify what it is? Now, I still challenge, by the way, any of you listening to get 8 in one weekend.
Yeah.
And I have a blog about it, if you ever want to read
Or
it.
to be a banana Elvis. That would be appealing.
But it occurred to me, that it is kind of a way to make yourself a big deal, even if you're, because I'm not going to beat anybody in anything, except right now I still have that
Logistics.
record. Well, as anybody will tell you, the driving becomes the hardest part.
Yeah.
Because you're racing to beat the clock, and that's the most nerve-wracking thing.
I thought the waiting was the hardest part.
You're pretty good.
I'm on.
You're pretty good right now.
Yeah.
I have not had another cup of coffee, which I usually do.
It's a coffee place. It even says the word coffee right there.
I'm powered by coffee. So, do you know Dean? How do you feel about Dean and his random records?
Oh no, I know Dean well, and I actually think I think 2 things. I think number 1, Dean is actually a super nice guy. I like him a lot.
Right.
We've been friends a long time. And I've had, back when that happened, when not many people knew who I was, I'd done a little bit of this and that, whatever, but nobody was really going to, check up on me on whatever I was doing necessarily, I probably fell into the camp of like, who's this, wanker or whatever,
right.
making these things. And what I actually learned, through my own experience is the internet especially takes a nugget of information and
right.
turns it into a whole lot of things that it was never intended to be. So I'm not saying that Dean didn't claim, a record for, like one time he said, yeah, it's a record for, the longest run, continuous run, which turned out to be, first of all, it's a nonsensical thing to say or to try to
because you have to sleep,
prove,
you mean?
Right. What does nonstop mean? First of all, you have to begin by defining the word nonstop. Like, is nonstop you piss in your pants and just poop in a diaper as you continue to run the entire time?
I might try to beat that record.
Right. Is there a certain amount of, like, what happens if you go into the porta potty to, take a dump and you spend 15 minutes in there, but that's how long it took you, but you had a nap. Is it still nonstop? Like the rules have to be laid out.
Right.
No matter what. And so, Dean claiming that and I can tell you right now, I'm part of a listserv that will go unnamed. Well, you know what?
The ultra running listserv?
There is that one, but there's another one that's sort of specific to Barkley.
Right.
The Barkley, which, I'm terrified to comment on it even. Like, I don't even like making a comment because they are so fucking ruthless.
Right.
They absolutely, it's a very smug,
of course,
smart group that,
right.
Just loves picking on people. And, so I comment every once in a while. Oh, you know what? I commented today for the first time in a really long time because there were some guys on there giving, interestingly, the container runners at the Spartan race
Jesus.
a hard time.
Because what, they slept?
Like not being real runners or some nonsense. And so I actually just chimed in and said, hey, I was there. I saw it. They did it for a good cause. They're nice guys. And,
And go fuck off.
Right, exactly. And they stayed in a box for 24 hours.
Right.
And
while you were...
right,
watching Netflix,
right,
so
and commenting online on things,
right?
So that kind of stuff. So back to Dean, though, that's kind of go ahead.
So really quickly, by the way, people I know were mentioning that to me. They're like, by the way, that looks like something stupid, like Joe would make people do it, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it's like, and these are like friends of mine, and I'm like, I just saw a guy come out of, 3 guys come out of that.
Yeah.
All about like promoting mental health, which is big to me, and like zero ego in any of them, right? Although I didn't talk to Isaiah, who has a bit of an ego. I talked to the other 3 guys,
right.
but I'm being serious. So it's like I just wrote back. I talked to the guys; they were great, and I just left it at that. But yeah, like of course, like internet land is like, oh, that's stupid.
Yeah. I just want to say, like, to any of those people that said that, like, let's see you just get on a treadmill for 24 hours, even in your crowded gym with a bunch of people cheering for you, and see how you do.
Let alone pooping in a bucket in the corner,
exactly.
and sleep deprivation and the rest of it. Anyway,
you know what? If it's for a good cause, I think it's, first of all, it's none of your business. Just if you don't have something good to say, go back to your grandmother's saying, right? And that doesn't deserve a nasty comment. So back to Dean, though. Here's my the thing I've said over and over again is that guy, like him or not, is responsible for more people getting off the sofa and starting to run than anybody else I know. Like, seriously.
Well, maybe Joe is now neck and neck with him. Jacena's ripped a lot of people, right?
No doubt. But I mean, Dean and his books came at the right time, and back when he won, Badwater back in the early 2000s, and his rivalry with Pam Reed. They were on Letterman. I don't know if you even remember that.
I saw he showed at the cruise. Were you on the cruise?
Oh yeah, right. They showed that. Yeah.
They showed him on Letterman.
Pam Reed, Pam Reed, very famous ultra runner, a woman, won Badwater 2 years in a row. Like, won Badwater, didn't win the women's division, won Badwater the whole race, and then Dean won 1 year also, and and so they were both on there, and that was kind of in the heart of when Dean was getting a lot of crap for whatever, but he's, look, man, he's a nice guy. And also absolute total respect for anybody who can figure out how to make a living at an obscure sport like this. You know what I mean? Because I struggle with it. I'd like to be able to make the living that he makes. And
well, little known fact. Apparently his yogurt shop was crushing it, and so he sold it because they couldn't keep up with the business, and he was messing with his. Did you know anything about his yogurt shop?
Yeah. And he's had a couple other businesses, and the guy does well. And again, I give him a hard time. I always say that he's like he's white bread. He's like Wonder Bread.
Right.
I'm like sprouted rye. There's more of it's harder to get a taste for what I have to offer maybe. And Dean has a really consistent, positive message, and he's great. He's great for running, and he's a smart guy, and he makes a living at this. And you know what? You try it, and if you can figure out a better way, not you, but
no, I know what you're saying. So what year did you first decide? What was the cause? What was the sponsors? Like, why were you going to run across the country? And first of all, which way?
Yeah, first of all, so I went San Francisco to New York, which is kind of the accepted, route. I felt like the Frank Giannino, who was the record holder before Pete Kostelnick just broke his record a couple years ago. That's what he did. And so I felt like, I had to run at a very minimum the exact number of miles that he ran. He had done it so many years before that some of the roads didn't exist any longer that he ran on. So you couldn't exactly replicate it, but you come pretty close. And it's a really, really hard record. And Pete crushed it. So did you follow Pete's run at all? So Pete Kostelnick, and right now, right this minute, he's actually in the midst of running from Kenai, Alaska to Key West, Florida, over 5,000 miles, self-supported. He's pushing a baby stroller. There's no baby in it, I don't think.
With his stuff in it.
Yeah.
My buddy just did that.
Yeah.
Not from
there to there, but from where to where?
From Santa Monica to where he lives in North Carolina.
Wow.
That should connect him to you.
Yeah. So Pete's, you should.
Pretty impressive.
Averaging,
with like minimal. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't sleeping in hotels. He was like sleeping under the thing on the side of the road.
I think Pete's doing a combination of those things. But Pete's averaging like 55 miles a day at this point, I believe. Self-supported, pushing all his own stuff. And he'll establish a record simply because
nobody's done that before.
And that's a good example though of a truly legit record. You want to run 5,000 miles, and he's basically creating something. If someone else wants to break that, then that's fine.
All right. So why did you want to go from San Francisco to New York?
Mine was a couple years after my Sahara run, and look, man, every ultra runner, especially even 10 years ago, things have really exploded in ultra running, lately. But every ultra runner has thought about running across the United States. It's just and long before Forrest Gump did it. But it's just a thing, it's a thing that people want to do. And so, for me, I wanted to see if I could break the record. I didn't necessarily want to go do it just for grins. Now, I would probably just do it, if I ever had the window of time. There's Laz, who's Gary, just finished running, the Barkley guy. You saw the Barkley movie, probably?
Dude,
right?
I just went to Barkley.
Okay, so, Laz.
I've interviewed Laz a couple times.
Well, so he just finished walking across the U.S.
Right, LazCon, they were calling it.
Just like a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And I followed, I'm on that list, so I pretty much followed every day, and his writing was actually, bless you, his writing was brilliant. It was, it was very simple and direct and to the point, and, he was good at giving people an amazing visual, and he complained just the right amount, and shared, as I always say, and I think you didn't ask this question, but I'll answer it anyway. The reason some of these things really fall flat, as far as the public goes, is people are unwilling to share the struggle. Because nobody want. And with all due respect to my friend Pete, I was actually like one of his mentors on his Transcon when he broke the record by 4 days. The guy averaged over 70 miles a day.
Right.
And I actually told him a couple of times, because Pete did struggle. There were some real struggles, yet he didn't really share that with people. He's a pretty private guy, and so he made it look easy, is kind of my point. And for him, compared to so many others, it was easy, but he would have, quadrupled his following all of that if he had just shared some of the pain.
Right. So if we can quickly go here real quick to say why I think your idea, what's it called again?
Yeah, 5.8. Dead Sea to Everest.
No, not that one.
What one?
Your podcast one.
Oh, yeah, right. Surviving Anything.
Surviving Anything. Instead of just like, here's my arc, the 3 points you talked about. What happened when you were a kid that was fucked up? What happened in the middle? What happened now? Like, I think that's awesome, and nobody's done that. I mean, that's super cool. Like, I'm enrolled in that idea.
Thank you.
So anyhow, we still haven't got to why.
Why I did it?
You did it?
Why I did it? I did. I wanted to set a record. I mean, I freely admit, I was driven.
Which was how many days?
Which was basically 45 days.
Right, because now it's 43, right?
Now it's 41.
Wow.
Yeah. So I needed to run, at the time, like 69 a day, roughly, right in there. And 66, 67. Who's counting? Somewhere in there. And
now, really quickly, do you try to get a little bit ahead of that early on so you can get a day off?
That's a really great idea and thought and question. And yes, and it was a big mistake. So, and pretty much everybody who's ever tried it has tried something like that, and it's always a big mistake, with the exception of Pete. He actually ran something like friggin' 85 and 82 miles like the first couple of days. But then, interestingly, on like day, I don't remember the exact day, but like day 6 or 7, he had to take a full day off. He developed such incredible tendonitis in one of his legs, and very common injury for ultra runners. And the difference for Pete, in my run back in 2008, I developed the same injury, but it did me in. Pete's 20-something, and I was already at that point, mid-40s.
Man, you're old.
I am old, thank you. And, Pete like quite literally recovered in a day. And then he had mileage he had to make up. If I got the chance to do it again, and I was really trying to maximize miles, forget about the record. I think that record's out of my reach and probably out of most anybody else's reach, with a couple of notable exceptions. I would start off by running, 40 miles on day 1 and 50 on day 2, and trusting the fact that if you can stay healthy by halfway through, then you can actually begin to add some 70 miles and 75 mile days to actually make up for that. But if you totally just crush your body in those first days.
But I think that's what the Iron Man guy did, is that his coach said, well, look, the first week of this thing is like your last week of training for it. Like, we don't have to get you up to, you know what I mean? And that kind of made sense, right?
Yeah. Well, and I'll give you another example. The Sahara, some of it wasn't completely by choice, because we had some border issues, because we crossed from Senegal into Mauritania like on day 2, and we were only able to run that day like 30 miles, which turned out to sort of be a blessing. And then, the next day we ran like 40, and so some of it was not. But look, running across the Sahara was going to be a record as long as we made it. It didn't matter if it took 200 days. Like, nobody had ever done it before.
Has anybody tried it since?
No. And frankly, certainly there's plenty of people physically capable, but, politically, there's, I would find it really hard to believe that in our lifetimes, given the current situation in that part of the world, that anybody could ever do it, because you just can't run through those countries right now without dying or being chased.
Well, that's kind of cool.
You got to go really,
hold on to that one.
That record's safe for a while.
Right. I'm looking for a battery really quickly, and I'm going to do a quick time check. What time do you got?
Was that a gong that just went off? Gong. 10:30. What are you trying to do? Figure out where you're going? You're going to Atlanta. You're in Salt Lake City. So where do you keep your itinerary?
It's so funny, though. On some of these trips, so boards.
There it is.
Boards at 11, departs 11:40. Got a good.
Oh, okay. Well, you're way ahead of me. So.
I can tell you that, like, some of these trips, and somebody's like, "Where are you staying?" I'm like, "I don't know. When I land, I'll look at my phone, and see." Like I literally didn't know where my car was. I was like, "Oh, where did they get me a car? Oh, Enterprise. Oh, where's my hotel? Oh, let me put." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't.
You had a nice car. I liked that car a lot.
I mean, it was a what do you?
It was
call
a Prius.
It's not a Prius. It was a.
That wasn't a Prius. It was a hybrid.
It was a Chevy hybrid, but I'm saying it was like
it really?
it was like the smallest kind they had.
You know what? I actually like that because what did you need with more space?
Well, the only time it matters is with doing obstacle races. Is if you show up and like to get on the property, it's
embarrassing.
It's got some terrain,
you needed a truck
and then it fucking rains. You know, I had a gig I had a Philadelphia race, and when first of all, I don't know if you know this, but I'm one of these guys. I'm gonna have to whisper this.
Yeah.
The rules don't apply. The rules don't apply to me.
Yeah.
So if they're like, you can't park on site, no one's parking on site.
Okay, right.
Okay, I'm just gonna drop something off. That's my move.
Right. Yeah.
Giving it away.
Yeah.
Right? And then I fucking park up there.
Yeah.
Because the rules don't apply to me and I don't like to walk far to the venue.
Yeah.
So when I got to the top of this thing and like I'm like like already like swishing the car and it's raining hard and it's 8 a.m, I said to myself, if I get out of here at 6 o'clock when this race day is over, it's gonna be a miracle.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna have to push me out.
Yeah.
This was a bad idea.
Yeah.
And I ended up in this case, like you couldn't go forward, so I just like went backwards into this field and it worked out fine. But anyway, that's why you need a 4-wheel drive on one of these races.
The other lesson there though is this, and I've only taught my
follow
kids,
the rules sometimes.
No, I've only taught my kids a couple of really useful things, and they're both in their 20s now, and they give me great credit for this one, not much else. But that is always pretend like you know what you're doing.
Oh, of
like
course,
you belong there,
right?
And if you belong, you can get into just about anything if you just simply, very often, if you just walk past someone. Because generally speaking, people don't like to
confront you
or tell you to come back or whatever. I'm kind of talking about like, I don't mean like airport security. I mean like at a ball game or, you're in the upper deck and, that's where your ticket is in the nosebleeds and you want to be down closer to the court. Just walk down there. Very often,
right.
Maybe not right at the beginning of the game, but very often you can just get down there.
A very amateur move that I will sometimes pull is the pretend you're on the phone call.
Oh my God. I do that all the time.
Up top.
Yeah. I do that.
Because for some reason that takes the pressure off having to eyeball the person, right?
Yeah.
Now I have a friend who shall remain nameless right now.
Dave. No, I'm just kidding.
He's gotten to the Super Bowl, the Oscars,
while on his phone.
With fake. Now I don't think he's done it now, but as recently as I think 10 years ago, which still is, it's not the 80s.
Yeah.
Like made shitty plastic on his computer badges and got play, and I was like so floored. 2018 it might be slightly hard, but even 10 years ago I was like, "You what?" He's like, "Yep, I got on the Super Bowl," and I was like, "How the fuck?" And it's like he described it to me like each place that it gets further where the security guard is, and you make your move and pretend to be in the phone or the pretend to be talking thing.
The pretend phone thing too. You know what? Some of the best things about that. Like if my doorbell rings at home, and like I'm not expecting someone, I'll get my phone out and I'll be on the phone when I answer it, just in case it's Jehovah's Witnesses or somebody or an insurance salesman or something, and then I can make the decision whether I want to talk to them or not.
This is what I do, by the way.
Homeless people every once in a while too, only in San Francisco, and I love homeless people, and I feel bad for them.
Right, because some of them there are people, right?
But man, absolutely. You can walk down the street in San Francisco sometimes, though, and it is.
I forgot
beyond.
The most important part of my. I've got to drop something off trick. I forgot to tell you this because I have told other people this is how I do it.
Yeah. Oh no.
I show them my little media thing.
Yeah.
And they go, "Sorry, there's a list specifically,
no
and there still isn't." And I go, "I just have some equipment I got to drop off." Now, what motion was I just doing?
It's in the back of your car.
I'm pointing to the back of my car.
Right.
Because I've got some equipment. You see?
Yeah. Yeah.
And okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you're such a trustworthy.
But I'm saying, like, they're on with their day.
Yeah.
They're on with looking at the next 20,000 cars.
Yeah,
but the pointing is key. The imaginary gear.
Yeah.
I've got I've got expensive equipment to drop off.
I'm going to remember that. What happens? Has anybody ever checked your equipment? So to speak?
The only time that a guy literally got in front of my car because I kind of half ignored, was this boss came over.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like...
He had the show.
It was not happening.
Yeah, right.
And he was like... And I think a lot of people had tested his patience that morning.
Yeah.
Because he was like, you guys have been pulling this shit all day, and we only have so much room. And meanwhile, they have acres of land up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let me charge the damn batteries. Hang on.
To like, what if we did it like this? The 50 podcasts, 50 airport, 50 days. Like we never leave the airport. Like we never leave the airport industrial complex, which is, they call it the prison industrial complex, So maybe, so in other words, we fly into like here, Salt Lake City, we meet somebody, we do whatever, and do our podcast, do our thing, and then we go to the next city.
That is what we're talking about.
Right? But we don't ever. When do we shower and stuff? I mean, we just don't. I'm just saying we don't.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Like, in other words, we only go. The only way this works, I've got it. The only way this works is if we only go through security one time. Right, the first day.
So we have to figure out how to like, if there's some kind of like Delta Club or something, and if there isn't, then we just don't shower. We just do the bathroom thing.
Yeah.
Right. We eat nothing but airport food.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And maybe it doesn't have to be 50 days. Like maybe we could do 50 airports in 50 states.
But we could knock out 2 or 3 in a day.
Right, so we don't have to be out here for so freaking long.
Right, okay. And like my wife would be like, you're going to be gone for how long?
Right, for 50 days to do what?
So we could knock out 2 or 3 a day.
Yeah.
I like this idea.
I do too.
This is getting better and better.
Yeah. I mean, it is a... maybe we invite...
Podcasting is such a thing right now.
Yeah, we invite the right... I don't know who we invite. We got to invite interesting people.
Well...
Because there's a lot of interesting stories that get told by not very interesting people. And unfortunately, I'd rather have a boring story told by a really dynamic, interesting person.
But just like anything, like when they do those documentaries, every day doesn't... So if there's a couple of duds in there, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
But local media is going to show up to every single one. That person's going to share it on their social. It's going to have its own social thing. And now you're getting me. When you first said we should really do it, I thought I'm not being serious. Like I'm joking. But now you're getting me. This could be the late night coffee talking. But
maybe we just pull people like this dude over here looks interesting.
Like what if it's not even famous people?
Right. Sometimes like if we can't, like if the famous person doesn't show up or we're out of time or whatever, then it's like we just get the nearest non-famous that might turn out.
Yeah, are you like? When is your flight? Do you have an hour? Because that's what we're going to do.
They might be famous.
I'm really liking this idea now.
Okay, there.
Yeah, okay. I'm really liking it because there's an airline sponsorship possibility. There's definitely a coffee sponsor possibility.
Oh my gosh, no doubt.
There's different restaurants, except there's not always the same restaurant, right? And everything. Mm-hmm. But if all we can eat is what we've if we can never leave
we can have a nutrition battle of sorts here and see. God, how do I exercise? There's got to be a way, I guess.
Oh,
I could run up and down. I could do a lot of burpees, though.
Well, we both
I could do a burpee challenge, like right here.
Oh, I have no interest in doing a burpee challenge.
We video it, and
but
it would actually be great. That part would be great. How do you exercise? We could do exercise videos in the airports.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like literally, there's space right there. Like you just turn on the camera. We're doing the podcast even.
Right.
I get a little lav mic while I'm doing burpees, and we just continue our conversation.
But then you're out of breath. I don't think I like that.
You'd be surprised.
I'd rather just like, okay, you're gonna take the wheel for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just like kind of half jog a couple laps down this terminal because you don't want to run. People sometimes get frightened in airports.
Yeah.
I think this is a really good idea, though. I think we should continue to flush this out.
Cut this out of this podcast so that we don't share it with other people.
I'm not one of those people that thinks people are going to steal your ideas. But here's my question: you've already got like a year or two of your life planned.
Yeah, you know what? I like this. This is.
We're not going to stop your.
We wouldn't have to.
Your what is it again?
Yeah, 5.8.
Earth to birth. What's it called? Earth to dirt, mountain to sun. What's it called?
You could call it sea to summit.
Sea to summit.
That's not what I call it, but you can.
Why don't you call it that?
I don't know, because it's a boring 5.8. Do you want me to explain to you what 5.8 is so that you know?
I'm too tired. I'm way too tired.
Because 5.8, would you, like tomorrow, if I don't explain it to you now.
If I say to him, see to summit, he gets it. If I say, hey, he's doing 5.8. What's
then
that?
He's going to say, what's that? Exactly.
And you're going to say, a CrossFit workout?
No, that's it though. But you got the thing. He said, what's that? And that's all I care about. So I start telling it, and then you never forget. I got people that call it depths to peaks. I got people that call it, it's just, it's very, nobody can ever remember the name. So,
but I think we got to go back to your brand, which I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Only because I'm tired.
Surviving anything.
Surviving anything.
Yeah.
That's got to be the capital letters.
No, I totally agree. Yeah.
Like Surviving Anything presents 5.8. Surviving Anything presents Iceland to
that
fucking
is
Burbank.
exactly it. How did you know?
Because I'm a brand genius.
You are.
I'm a Svengali.
Yeah. No, that's
Between
it.
you and I, we might have half a decent idea.
Yeah. Right. And then if we double it
and add 30,
then you got something.
Seriously.
What happens if you I can't remember the joke. Forget it. I guess I'm tired too. No, I know. What happens if you get scared God dang it. What happens if you get scared half to death? Twice.
Did you write that joke?
No,
that's bad.
Stephen Wright.
Oh, okay.
Remember him?
I do remember Stephen Wright. Oh, no, he was phenomenal.
He could deliver it like so well. It took me 3 times to screw it up, and it still
Right.
didn't come off well.
Right.
But, okay, you got a flight to catch in a minute.
No, I don't.
but-
I've got
okay.
time.
All right.
As long as I look at this and not my watch.
Did you set your alarm again to go off like 3 times? That was great, actually. I enjoyed that in the car, how it kept going off, telling you needed to leave for the airport while we're on the way to the airport.
How addicted to you, not addicted, how reliant are you upon your phone?
Incredibly. Way too.
Could you leave your house without your phone and
It would
survive
make
a
me
day?
really, I'd start to sweat
You know what someone
immediately.
said to me one day?
What?
He said, if you left your wallet at home, you wouldn't turn around maybe for it. If you left your phone at home, not a fucking chance.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That we live in an age where your fucking wallet is less important.
Yeah. No, I have. So sometime a couple weeks ago, I did leave the house where, I knew I was going to be gone for like 3 hours, and I left my phone behind. I was 10 minutes down the road in someone else's car, riding with them to go help them do something, and I was actually embarrassed. And I didn't, I said, oh, hey, I forgot my phone. And I didn't make any big deal out of it. And I survived it. And there weren't, interestingly, there weren't like 25 people that absolutely had to talk to me at that moment,
I know I turn airplane mode on when I go to bed.
Yeah.
I know people that don't.
Yeah.
And
it
they
just
like
wakes them up all the time.
Or like they check it in the middle of the night.
My wife makes me do that. I wear earplugs too and an eye mask. And
Oh,
like,
my
I'm
God.
like, I need a.
But I think
I need like a very nice.
So if you and I are going to be buddies on this little adventure we're going on, when we're sleeping on the plane,
what's your routine?
Well, no,
Are you gonna sleep on the plane?
I think that's our only option.
Yeah.
Right. But I can tell you what,
it's true.
Little shout out, these Bose noise canceling headphones are a dream.
You gonna give me some of those? With
Sure,
your hookup?
sure.
Yeah, I would love those. So those, if you just leave them hanging around your neck, not in your ear, can you still hear it?
No, I mean,
that?
so
No, you need to put it in your ear. But you can just do one if you want, right?
You can just do one. You can also, there's levels of the noise canceling, which I don't really mess with. I'm sort of an all or nothing kind of a guy. So, for example,
You're either hearing it or you're not hearing it.
Right. So, for example, when the woman is giving the very important safety information,
Absolutely. You take them out and you listen completely.
I
right?
now can listen to the entire. It's just womp. I hear nothing. It's just
So it's not even womp womp.
It's
Because that
womp.
would be
No, it's womp womp. But I'm saying, like before, it's like, oh, this lady, shut up, so I can go back to listen to this podcast or this movie or whatever. Now these things are fun. It really is so much so that when I take them back out, it's kind of like coming out, like water coming out of your ears, or like coming into the light. Kind of like those guys were in the thing for 24 hours.
Yeah.
It really is an adjustment. These are so good. I can get completely immersed in the world of this audiobook or podcast.
I'm digging it. I'm totally.
All right, let's wrap it up before one of us falls asleep while we're talking.
Yeah.
So you and I have created this genius idea.
Yeah. So how do we start? How do we start this like? Do we start with sponsors?
Well,
this
again,
is the same problem I have with every.
But can we back up a little bit?
expedition.
Because honestly, you do have several projects in the works.
I do.
So I don't want to cut into that. That's what I was
It's
trying
okay.
to say.
All we need is, I think we need a 30-day window. Maybe not even 30 days. it's even possible we could do 3 airports a day. I think we do 21 days. I think we try to maximize. We just have to figure out how to map it out and then try to figure out how to get somebody else to pay for it.
Well, of course, somebody else has to pay for it. I think we can finish in Atlanta because it's the biggest hub.
Yeah.
We could probably start and finish in Atlanta, maybe some way, because it's the biggest hub. It's where I live, so I can
get a travel agent involved. You probably have a travel agent, right?
Who needs it? It's 2018. Who needs a travel agent?
Well, it just means somebody else to actually figure it out.
No, we need a logistics person.
Yeah.
And not whoever the crazy person you hired a couple years ago that
Oh yeah.
wasted hours of my life I'll never get back. Who shall remain nameless.
As long as it wasn't my wife.
It wasn't your wife.
No, I know it wasn't.
It wasn't either of your
I remember,
wives.
trust me. I remember it was. Oh no, I do remember who it was. I'm not going to say her name.
You don't have to.
No, I'm not. Yeah.
But it was effing bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt
She got married recently to one of the runners on my team. She got married to one of the runners on my team.
I felt like those people on American Greed who were like, "What? He was a con man the whole time." I was like, "I've been talking to this woman for 6 days," and it's like you were like, "What? I've never met this woman in my life. What are you doing? We haven't heard that at all. We're going to be over here at 8:00. What the fuck? What are you?" And I was like, "What?"
It was hilarious. Not to you, but I'm glad it worked out. I remember running with your group.
It was really short, and I was glad I saw you.
Actually, that group in Atlanta though was one of the highlights of Dallas. Was actually a really good one, and I don't, sorry Dallas, I don't love Texas a lot of times because just because I don't know, people are awfully nice, but they make me suspicious.
But people say that about the South. When you're from
that's true.
When you're from the
That's
North
true. Yeah.
and you move down south, people are like, "Why are people saying hi to me?"
Yeah. What do they want? Yeah, but going through Atlanta, which of course was my, I lived there for a long time, and
right.
I loved that city, and
right.
So I enjoyed going through there, and your people were so enthusiastic, and everybody knew you, and it was like that.
But I feel like I wanted to get a bigger group. Like there was only like maybe 6 or 7 people. If you gave me more time, or
you could have gotten a bunch. The problem was we never knew where we were going to be when, really, because
and especially when I had someone teling me like day late
it's
information.
Gonna be right? Yeah. Then it's like, hey, we're already here. What?
It was just anyway. It was a mess.
Something like that. Yeah. We'll get somebody better than that.
Okay, but anyway, so you and I need a logistics person. I mean, if we can get enough money, we get a third person to come on the trip with us that like runs
to take care of all this stuff.
Like runs the equipment, recharges
we won't let
it.
them talk though.
Of course not. We'll give them lots of acknowledgments, but no, they're going to charge the batteries. They're going to make sure they're going to be running the social stuff, and of course, we'll do some of it ourselves.
Yeah.
But do we have a name for it?
I was just going to say that. Let's call it 5.8.
I think 5.9. Okay, so explain to me your stupid idea. Why is it 5.8?
Okay, so here's the thing. So I'm going to go for all the people that listen to you.
Nobody's listening. Nobody's listening.
Not right now. They're not.
They turned it off
because we're not.
They forwarded it off a different airport ago, a different time zone ago.
So 5.8. I'm going from the Dead Sea to the top of Mount Everest, so the lowest place on the planet to the highest. And I'll go from the Dead Sea across the Arabian Desert. Then I'm going to paddle across the Indian Ocean. Then I'm going to bike across India to the base of Mount Everest. Then I'm going to climb Everest. And I call it 5.8 because even though the trip is about 4,500 miles, it's actually only 5.8 vertical miles from the lowest place to the highest point. And you know what? Everybody in this airport that we're looking at right now, you and me and everybody in the world, and the whole world actually lives in that tiny little 5.8 mile sliver of space. That
Everest is only 5 miles up?
Yeah, 5.8. Well, Everest is about 5 up. The Dead Sea is about 1,200 feet. So technically the Dead Sea is about 2 miles below sea level.
Got it. Did I tell you that I really thought it would be bad news if you died on Everest because you'd made it all this way and then you died at the end? Like, what a bummer that would be. Yeah. But then the documentary or whatever comes would probably sell a lot more.
Oh, my God. Way more.
Go through the roof. Speaking of which, Running the Sahara, is that available currently on Netflix? Do you even know?
It's not. It's on... Only place you can get it is on iTunes these days.
That's bad.
Well,
why should
it ran its course? And you want to know something funny, though? And I'm not going to call him out by name because I'd probably get... I don't think I get sued, but I get in trouble. But one of the executive producers of Running the Sahara is now a top executive at Netflix.
Well, get him.
He will remain nameless.
Get him to throw it back on there.
He wants to put it back on. So I think
what's the typical run? Like, I know Barkley was on there forever.
Yeah, usually between 1 and 2 years, and they usually then pull it off. So,
But when you think about it, considering there's endless choices, why ever pull anything off? Why not just leave it?
yeah, because Netflix doesn't want to pay for it forever, and then the film doesn't necessarily want to stay on there forever if nobody's paying for it. Although I don't know why not.
If I went to iTunes, how much is it? I'll throw you a couple bucks. You're worth it.
I have no idea. It's probably $15 or something.
All
Whatever
right.
the movie costs. Yeah. Yeah, dude, I'll send you a copy. I got a few DVDs at home. So
What am I going to watch?
You can watch it
On what?
anytime you want.
On
at
my
home.
what? Am I going to look at the box? DVD player.
People have DVD players still. That guy, you got a DVD player, right? You have a DVD. See?
What's the last DVD you watched on it?
Oh, see? Well, I watched.
Do you want to hear something about Tombstone?
What?
So
What do
glad
you
we're having
know?
this conversation. Where Tucson,
It's a very famous podcast.
where
around here now,
Tombstone
but-
was filmed, is a place called Old Tucson Studios, and I worked on a really horrible movie called Ghost Rock, which is available on Amazon.
You were on.
Shut
I've
up.
never heard of it.
Which is on Amazon right now, and it stays there forever because Amazon it's different.
It's just there. Yeah.
It's called Ghost Rock with Gary Busey. It's horrible, but we filmed on that same lot, if you will.
You didn't tear anything down. You just used the same building.
Well, like here's the scene where they shot the card room, and here's the this and the that, and
Tombstone was good.
Tombstone's a classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the last DVD you watched?
Do you watch anything on DVD, or do you just what? Right.
And by the way, nobody can even hear what they're saying because I have to.
Oh yeah, well that's okay. We'll sort of can. We'll tell him that.
He wants to give me a DVD of a movie that he made, and I'm like, I won't be able to watch it.
He's like, how's he gonna watch it? So, and I get his point. So
My
all right.
computer doesn't even have a thing for
Right.
it. Once upon a time, at least you could watch it on your computer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. See, gaming consoles.
Did
have
Blue?
that stuff.
See, I feel
Yeah,
like
but people are playing games now. It's
I
all
feel
on the
like,
internet
but
too,
I feel like
pretty
like
much.
when it always said available on DVD and Blu-ray, like I always thought Blu-ray never even caught on. Like to me, that was like DATs. Remember DATs?
Yeah.
They're supposed to replace CD
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
Do you have a Blu-ray player? And what is it?
Yeah, I don't actually know what that is. Was it a higher resolution or something? Pixels or memory? Okay, I got it.
But there's probably higher quality in this now. I'm holding my iPhone, ladies and gentlemen.
Did you have a high def TV at home? One of the curved screens?
No, I did
that
not
makes
have a
it look
curved
like
television.
People are like
No.
watching.
Do you have one of those?
At you? No.
Do you?
It freaks me out. Actually.
Do you guys want to be?
Those TVs.
Do you guys want to be a part of this
really
podcast?
looks like
By the way,
somebody's getting ready to walk into your living room.
would you guys like to be a part of this podcast? By the way,
Yeah, we're wrapping up right now. Where are you going? By the way.
all right. Let's just walk over here really quickly. All right.
To Atlanta.
Well, I figured they were.
We're not going to keep you for long.
We're not. I know this is super weird. So, can I just ask you what your name is?
Kevin Winiger.
And you're a Bama fan?
Yes.
And what were you doing? What are you doing here?
We actually flew up yesterday for the High West Distillery's Midwinter Nights Dram whiskey release this year.
What?
Now wait a minute.
Now we got something.
Now wait a minute.
interesting. See, I told
you are whiskey.
I told you
are
find
whiskey
famous people.
connoisseurs that travel to.
We came from Pensacola to Salt Lake City in
To drink.
42 hours to drink whiskey.
Because these things get released much like a wine would,
Yeah.
or sneakers.
Yeah.
Sneakers is a thing now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, here comes the other guy. So now we're in trouble.
So they have 3 different limited editions that they release, and one being in the wintertime. That's their ultra rare. It's sold out within 2 weeks of their release.
But like this has been sitting in a barrel for 20
Yeah, so
years
they-
or something?
They have their regular rye whiskey that they age for 2 years. It's a part of what whiskey is. And then they take the whiskey out of that and they age it in port wine barrels for 2 years.
What if I told you that
No, go ahead.
he could be one of the most infamous alcoholics that I have ever known?
I would say you're in good company.
But he never drank.
Wait.
But
So
I-
what's your name?
Josh Brown.
But I bet.
Okay, Josh,
but I bet
thanks.
the whiskey you drank cost like 100x less than whatever.
Almost
Hey there.
of mine.
We're in the middle of a podcast. They just became part of our
Believe
podcast.
it or not, Belize. I just made a Belize joke, but yeah. Are you really? Awesome. I love Belize.
Like you probably drank. Like, did you just drink?
I drank all of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but did you drink just like
most
the plastic bottle, or just like
most of the whiskey that I drank started with like the word wild and ended with turkey,
right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever slum? Do you ever slum with the wild turkey or the what do you call those plastic bottles that you get at the jugs there?
Oh,
do you ever slum it, or is that like no? It's
you kind of have to. I mean, you don't want to spoil yourself and just. Like,
was this expensive? This trip was this like the booze was expensive? So how much did you actually get to drink? And then do they give you a little, and then you're just like, well, shit, now I got to buy a bunch more.
So yeah, they do. The ticket gets you 2 free drinks, like mixed drinks, and when you get in, you have like dinner and all the drinks, and it's a masquerade ball.
And how much was the ticket?
Now, you don't seem like a masquerade ball kind of guy to me.
No, we're not, but we did it. It's we're not from here, so we went in Rome. Yeah. The tickets were $45.
This could be the first episode of our. This could be the first episode of our podcast.
Wait. So who drank more, you or your partner?
Pretty sure.
I'm gonna go with the big guy. I'm gonna go with the big Stillers fan over there. I think. So real quickly,
we have a third member of the team.
Do you listen to podcasts about this? Do you read blogs about this? Are you deep
whiskey?
Right. That's what I meant.
Yeah. Usually you just keep it up on Facebook. So you're part of a group.
What's your Facebook group?
High West Distillery. I mean, whatever your
High West. High West Distillery.
No, High West Distillery.
Okay.
There.
All right.
You don't follow blogs or podcasts.
Right.
But usually those people like are looking for more like there's probably a guy that either has a podcast or has a video series. This week. What about video? What about YouTube? Do you ever like looking on YouTube like, hey, this guy's always doing the latest?
I'm always on YouTube.
You hear this, by the way? This is good data for you, right? Right. So some people not on the podcast will YouTube. So is there a specific guy like I'm the fucking whiskey guy?
Not really for whiskey, but like for other things that I'm interested in.
What are you interested in?
You put me on the spot.
It's
Guns,
okay.
Gaming, stuff like that.
Gaming and booze. It's a great combination, actually.
Guns, gaming, booze.
Now we might my 9-year-old watches a lot of gaming YouTube videos. You might watch some of the same
people.
Does
your 9-year-old drink?
He does not drink yet.
Okay.
Like who do you watch? Like who are the YouTube?
Cap.
I don't know him. I mean, I don't really know any of them, but
he's just one of them that I watch a lot. And
you do like the internet gaming where you're signing on and you're playing with people all over the world and stuff like that. Right.
Now, do you guys have regular jobs?
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
Are you allowed to
Does it involve drinking good
Does it
whiskey?
involve drinking, gaming, or guns?
Sometimes.
A little bit.
Are we allowed to ask? You don't have to say the name of the company, but can you say the field that it is?
Yeah, industrial maintenance. We travel quite a bit.
Okay, that sounds like bullshit. Title industrial maintenance.
We accumulate Sky Miles, and then we can spend Sky Miles on doing cool stuff like that.
So what's the next big release you're going to?
Don't know yet. We haven't decided.
September 2019. We'll be back on this one. This is my favorite whiskey, so I've been looking forward to the release for years.
Okay, look, so I lost my membership card as far as drinking goes a long time ago. I had to give it up. But if I was going to drink today, I'm pretty sure I'd be heading to like Ireland or Scotland for some amazing thing. You ever thought about doing something like that?
I wish we could have got a hold of y'all before this. Yeah. Let y'all try some dram. Yeah, we got how many bottles do we get? 18.
Are they in the checked luggage? Are they wrapped in? Hopefully they're better than just underwear and stuff. They're better be some bubble wrap. Okay.
Black plastic bottles.
Now.
Okay.
Is there a possible revenue stream for you to then come home and sell some of it, say on eBay or to your friends?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But you seem like the kind of guys that would not do that. You just want to.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it with mine.
And is it not doing it because you want to drink it, or not doing it just because?
I'm not doing it just because I want to drink it. Yeah. Just because I want to enjoy it. Yeah. And
you share with your friends, though. I mean, yeah.
So but I'm saying, is it morally opposed? Like you wouldn't do it because you're like, oh man, I don't want to gain.
Opposed to making money.
Yeah, I would definitely do it. It's not a moral thing at all.
If they had tickets to a game, not a Bama game, because you wouldn't give up those tickets for anything. But yeah, I could see them.
He went to UNC, by the way. This is a guy.
Sorry, we went
to a basketball school.
We don't talk much about football. Especially not this year.
I'm an Auburn fan traveling with 2 Alabama fans.
At times.
Auburn fan traveling with 2 Alabama fans.
Interesting. Where do you guys live?
Pensacola, Florida.
Okay. All right. Well, listen,
Yeah.
I'm definitely running out of steam.
Yeah, it was
Are
good.
either one
It was
of
good.
you
That was
on Instagram where I can tell you where to listen to this pod, or Facebook and I can get your info? And,
Yeah, I'm
All
on
right.
Facebook.
We'll tell you because this podcast will be up soon.
All right. Good to meet you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Safe
And you
travels
gave
back
us, and,
home.
and this could be like, this is like the test episode of our.
We've decided. What do you think of this idea? We're going to test you.
Well, they're not
okay?
even podcast guys though. So
Well, no, I know, but I mean, so we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're actually going to end up doing 50 podcasts. Not now, but 50 podcasts in 50 different airports in 50 states.
And we might talk to famous people and some. We might.
Yeah, we thought we'd talk to famous people, but you guys are pretty famous, and so yeah, we're working on the idea. We're working on the idea. If you had a lot of money, we'd be asking you to like help us fund it, but maybe you do have a lot of money. I don't know. It's great because then you only go through security once. For,
That's the whole point. All right, are you on Instagram or just Facebook?
Yo, isn't your flight at 11 o'clock?
No, we're on the same flight, right? Right. What time does the flight leave?
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah.
Now you got me freaked out.
Well, I thought you said 11 earlier. It's not my fault.
Now you got me totally freaked out.
There can't be more than one flight leaving for Atlanta.
The board's at 11. Departs 11:40. So
There
I
you
will
go.
not be getting on 11. I'm going to fucking wait.
Yeah.
Even though I'm zone 1.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, that was fun. I
That was
enjoyed that.
But you see,
And
how that was a
they're
good
right
like.
behind you too. So.
That was a good. That was a good test.
It was. It was.
For us. Like
Yeah.
if the guest doesn't show,
It's not like we have a problem talking to strangers, I don't think.
Right.
Yeah. Right. That was actually my cousin, though. I don't want to tell you that.
But if we were going to go out, right? Wouldn't that be the stuff to go out on, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. If I was going to go out, I would absolutely do it with a really high-end liquor.
Right.
You know,
and then
a
we could
gun.
fucking shoot some guns.
Did they say anything about porn?
No.
No,
But we got
okay.
we
That's
got
too
the
bad.
we got the guns and the games and the booze.
Yeah.
That's 3 for 3
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You know what? I
right,
really always wanted to play like Guitar Heroes about as far as I got.
Me
in
too. All right,
gaming.
where can people find more about your
Yeah, just always
half-ass projects?
CharlieEngle.com. CharlieEngle.com.
There's no 5.8.com?
Not yet.
Indestructible Silence. What's the other one called?
Just
Doinghardstuff.org. What's it called?
Surviving Anything.
Do you have survivinganything.com?
I do. And .org because I haven't figured out whether I'm trying to make money or give it away.
I like both. How about
Yeah.
Instagram?
Not yet. I have it. I haven't started
do
posting
have it,
on
though.
Surviving Anything. Yes, yeah. So I do own it and have it in my possession. And
What?
Yeah.
Somebody has tagged me in something.
oh man,
What?
you don't let things go on without approving them, though, do you?
No, people tag me all the time and stuff,
understand.
and most of the time it's fine. It's like they just want us to see it or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
But some people tag me in everything, and I message them and I tell them to stop,
Please stop. Yes. Yeah.
and then they argue with me about it.
Right.
So actually most of the I had a horrible
Block.
I've only had to block very few people. Have you had to block a lot of people?
Just a couple. Yeah, not many. I mean, most of the time, it's.
Are you friends with the guy on Facebook who what do you call it? Entrapped you?
Masturbates.
Entrapped you? What's that guy?
Oh, that guy. No.
Are you friends with him on Facebook?
I'm not. No.
Doesn't he still live in your town?
Yeah, he's still there somewhere. I mean, I actually live. He lives in the town where I was in Greensboro, but I'm in Durham now, so I'll probably need to leave the state. Can I move back to Atlanta?
Sure.
What we'll do is we'll just
We'll have you.
Yeah. I like I miss my days of running around and up and down Stone Mountain.
Well, listen, you are invited to my around the city trip. Remember run the ATL? Remember I think we've talked about
did.
that.
When is it?
You know who came to do it? Joe Fegis.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
He's a badass.
Dude.
Yeah.
He's otherworldly, that
He's
guy.
also super nice. It really kind of pisses me off.
I know.
I'd like to find a flaw.
Right.
And then if you don't want to listen to you, he just doesn't he just turns off his hearing aid.
All right, dude, that's it. I got to go. All right, that's it.
All right, see ya.
So after I had this conversation with Charlie, I think I messaged him a couple days later and said, is this one of those things where like you get really high and you have this amazing idea and then you sober up the next day and maybe it wasn't such a good idea? So I think I kind of might feel that way about the 50 airports, 50 days concept as a podcast. Maybe we'll do it one day. I'll be honest, we haven't talked about it in a while, but maybe it'll happen. Who knows? I hope you enjoyed that. Give me feedback. I always appreciate it. We're doing these things every Tuesday. If you're new to the program, welcome. Giving you a new update, new episode every Tuesday. Every Thursday, you're going to get Obstacle Discourse with Davis and Chase, a 15 to 30-minute update of what's happening in the world of OCR with New England Spartans Josh Chase and myself, and other fun video content along the way. If you raced this first weekend in Chino, hope you enjoyed it. The season is just now getting started. I hope to see you all out there very soon. This weekend, I got no race. Love you, miss you, mean it, gotta run.